how often do we really stop and think about how our deepest wounds might actually forge our greatest strengths? Like, what if the childhood trauma, something that just seems completely insurmountable, actually becomes the very foundation of an unbreakable will, a will ready for, well, pretty much anything.
Yeah, even facing down some really unexpected challenges.
Exactly. Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. This is where we take these, complex stories, grab a stack of sources, and try to distill them into the essential insights.
The goal is really to help you get informed quickly, maybe spark a few of those aha moments.
Right. So today, we're diving deep into a really powerful story. It's compelling, often heartbreaking, but ultimately triumphant. It's the origin story of a figure who's suddenly, well, everywhere. The doll.
Right.
We've got our sources piled up here, excerpts from The Doll, Rebirth of a Wrestler, this really moving poem called More Than Enough. They really help peel back the layers on this silent, sort of enigmatic presence.
And we're not just looking back, are we? We're trying to understand how his past, everything he went through, has prepared him for this monumental challenge that's coming up.
That's the core mission today, isn't it? To unpack the journey of the person who became the doll.
Yeah, tracing that path from a really vulnerable kid to the force of nature we see now, especially the one poised for Dr. Volcano's notorious Tournament of Terror.
Right. Understanding his past feels key to grasping his power now, and maybe even what he's fighting for in this tournament.
Exactly. What does his story tell us about resilience, about identity, and about finding strength where you'd least expect it?
Okay, let's really get into this. It all starts with a 7-year-old boy. The sources paint this picture of a fragile soul, a really tender heart, a child diagnosed with autism, and from very early on, he just felt different, isolated, like he didn't quite fit.
And it's just heartbreaking that his parents, they felt overwhelmed. Maybe they weren't equipped, they couldn't raise him.
Yeah.
So he ends up with his grandparents, and the sources are clear. They loved him deeply, immediately. But like a lot of families dealing with a new diagnosis back then, they initially struggled.
Didn't quite get the nuances of his autism.
Exactly. They didn't fully understand how best to support him. They were trying, desperately trying, but really learning as they went.
But even in that early isolation, he found something, a sort of comfort.
He did. The Wizard of Oz.
Right. He'd watch it over and over. It was like a ritual, brought him solace.
Yeah.
And his absolute favorite character.
The Scarecrow.
Yeah, the Scarecrow.
Yeah.
And the source, Rebirth of a Wrestler, really nails why. It says the Scarecrow simply wanted to be enough. And for this little boy, that idea just resonated so deeply. He just wanted to be enough too.
And that yearning, that simple desire to be enough, it just gives you such a powerful window into his inner world back then, doesn't it?
It really does.
It highlights that fundamental human need for acceptance, for validity, especially for someone who already felt so different. It's this quiet, kind of desperate longing to belong.
And then came the monstrous act.
Yeah.
It's horrifying to even read about.
It is. The sources detail this incident on the farm where they lived. He was playing alone near the barn.
Yeah.
And a group of local kids, driven by just cruel impulse, I guess, they attacked him, dragged him inside the barn.
Tripped him.
And then, in just an act of unbelievable malice, they covered his whole body in Dermabond.
Permanent medical adhesive. Imagine the terror for a 7-year-old.
The fear, the confusion, it's unthinkable.
And it didn't stop there, did it?
No. Right after the glue, they wrapped him up head to toe, tightly, in burlap rags.
Oh, go
They
on.
were deliberately turning him into the Scarecrow he loved, but this wasn't, innocent play.
No, the source calls it a cruel joke.
And the poem, More Than Enough, it captures it so chillingly. Cruelty, once dressed as play, turned innocence to loaded guns.
Wow, that line.
Yeah. It just shows how destructive childhood bullying can be, leaving these permanent scars, both the ones you can see and the ones you can't.
And the consequence was immediate, irreversible, life-altering. By the time his grandparents found him.
Heartbroken.
Yeah, heartbroken.
Yeah.
It was too late. The adhesive, it had fused the burlap right to his skin.
Permanently. Doctors said any attempt to remove it would literally tear his flesh.
So his life just changed.
Yeah.
Instantly. Forever. That physical alteration, a constant, painful reminder.
The aftermath was just devastation, total devastation. He felt this overwhelming shame, withdrew completely.
Wouldn't go outside.
Refused to, couldn't bear any connection to the outside world. And mirrors. Mirrors became enemies, reflecting this image he couldn't stand to see.
But his grandparents,
Their response was incredible, just this outpouring of love, driven by this desperate need to help him.
they dove into research, right? Autism, homeschooling.
Trauma care, things they never thought they'd need to know, but love just demanded they master it. Their dedication then, in those really dark days, it laid the groundwork for everything that came next.
But after months of this withdrawal, this silence, something shifted.
Yeah, an ordinary afternoon, apparently.
He was doing what he often did, flipping through TV channels. Common habit, the sources mentioned, due to his ADD. And then he just stopped.
Oh,
Yeah. His eyes fixed on a wrestling match. And this was the first thing, apparently, in months that actually held his attention, broke through that wall of despair he'd built.
and it wasn't just any wrestling match. What caught his eye specifically was a luchador.
Masked,
Listen,
stuff
man.
covered. And that was the moment, the pivot. For the first time since the trauma, he saw someone who didn't need to show their face to be powerful.
Someone whose concealment was actually part of their strength.
Exactly. And that resonated so deeply because his own body, his face, had become this source of shame, this unwanted concealment.
And the source says something inside him clicked. That's it. The aha moment. The spark.
He starts mimicking the moves he sees.
Instantly. Suplexes, slams, transitions. With stunning accuracy.
Wow.
His grandfather walks in, sees him, and is just frozen. Realizes this isn't just kids playing. This is precise. Instinctual.
And this is where the autism, which had made him feel so out of place.
Yeah, this is where it reveals itself as this incredible, unforeseen strength.
Like a superpower almost.
Kind of. The sources point out that his neurodivergence, often linked to intense focus and meticulous visual processing, allowed him to perfectly mimic these complex movements just from watching.
It's like the text says, he had been training his whole life without even knowing it.
It's such a powerful reframe, isn't it? What society might label a disability can actually be the source of these unique, almost superhuman gifts.
It wasn't deficit at all.
No, just a different operating system,
Yeah.
and uniquely suited for this specific challenge.
So the grandfather sees this incredible, unexpected talent, and he makes a pretty bold move.
He reaches out for help, for guidance.
And the person who answers that call sees the potential in this uniquely scarred boy.
None other than the legend Nick Dinsmore, known to wrestling fans as Eugene.
Eugene, wow. That's actually perfect.
It really was, looking back. Dinsmore himself famously portrayed a character who was often misunderstood, underestimated.
But celebrated for his unique abilities.
Precisely. So Dinsmore understood how to nurture that kind of unique spark in someone who'd been overlooked, marginalized. He knew strength doesn't always look conventional.
It really shows how important finding the right mentor is, doesn't it? Someone who gets your unconventional path.
Especially when you're forging a completely new identity like this.
So together they transform the actual place where the trauma happened, the barn.
Yeah, the site of all that pain, those indelible scars, it becomes a sanctuary, a place of purpose.
They build a wrestling ring in there.
Right under the rafters, amidst the hay bales, meticulously built it. And there, in that ring, surrounded by the echoes of his past, the doll was reborn.
That transformation of the space, the barn itself, it mirrors his internal change.
Absolutely. He wasn't reborn as a victim. He was reborn as this force of unbreakable will.
The scars weren't hidden anymore.
No, they became his armor, a testament to everything he'd endured and overcome. The burlap body wasn't shame. It became his symbol, his statement.
It's like he reclaimed it all, took the elements of the trauma and repurposed them as strength, as his identity.
A profound reclaiming of self.
He didn't just survive, the sources really emphasize this. He evolved. And in that ring, he finally found what he'd always longed for, what that 7-year-old watching the scarecrow wanted.
To be enough.
Just to be enough. But he found something even more profound, didn't he?
He did. For the first time, he was, and this is so powerful, more than enough.
That phrase, more than enough, it leads us right to the poem, doesn't it?
It does. The poem More Than Enough gives us this deeper, more intimate look inside the doll's world. His journey to self-acceptance. It's like stepping inside his quiet mind for a moment.
The poem opens, reflecting on his past. He never asked to be afraid, to wear a mask he didn't choose. What hits me there is how clear it makes it that this concealment wasn't his choice.
Right, it was forced on him. A consequence, not a costume.
Exactly.
And then it just cuts right to the core of the trauma, no holding back. But cruelty, once dressed as play, turned innocence to loaded guns.
Oof, that line again. It emphasizes the monstrous reality of what those kids did, a total betrayal of childhood innocence.
It really does. But then from that devastation comes the completely unexpected.
But none could guess that in those rags would bloom a wrestler yet to be.
Oh, so
That really speaks to how unpredictable his emergence was.
totally. No one could have seen it coming. This silent burlap figure becoming formidable.
It's the ultimate twist, the dark cocoon hatching something powerful.
Yeah. And then the poem gives us this crucial insight into his motivation now. It clarifies that his power isn't about resentment.
Now every match is payback dealt. Not with rage, but quiet grace.
That's so vital. His wrestling isn't about anger or revenge. It's about this serene power, this dignified transformation. He's reclaiming his story through action.
He's not fighting against them anymore, he's fighting for himself.
Exactly. And his unique style, his whole persona, is captured so well. A mimic's gift, a phantom grip, a scarecrow's stare without a face.
It perfectly describes that uncanny ability to replicate moves, his quiet power, and how the burlap mask is his signature now. It's terrifying, but also deeply symbolic.
And the silence is key, too. He doesn't speak, he doesn't smile, his music's made of silence, deep.
That stoic, almost zen quality.
Yeah.
It makes him even more enigmatic in the ring. It's a choice, not a limitation. The silence speaks volumes.
It commands attention.
And the poem just culminates in this ultimate affirmation, finding his identity through wrestling. The last lines, but every slam, each flawless hold, he whispers, I am finally me.
That just hits you, doesn't it?
It really does. The triumph of finding yourself, belonging, through the very thing born from your greatest pain. And that feeling, I am finally me, that's what makes him so potent now.
Yeah.
Especially with what's coming.
So what's the takeaway here? The doll's story is just this profound example of turning trauma into triumph, finding unique power, unshakable identity in what others might see as a disadvantage.
His silence, his appearance, they aren't weaknesses. They're statements.
Powerful statements of who he is, who he's become. His journey shows that real strength often comes from the deepest struggles. And that quiet, undeniable strength is exactly why he's such a key figure in this upcoming event.
Yeah, the Tournament of Terror, hosted by Dr. Volcano, this skeletal guy in a fedora and suit.
Right, with apparently a crypt keeper kind of humor. Loves orchestrating these high-stakes, frankly terrifying showdowns.
And the prize. One wish.
One wish. And Dr. Volcano, in his, let's say, twisted wisdom, has pitted the doll against, well, check from Child's Play.
Seriously, that's unsettling, but also weirdly fitting.
It's a bizarre matchup, right? But maybe intentional. The doll, who embodies this quiet, earned strength forged from childhood terror.
Against Chucky, who is just pure, chaotic, childhood corrupting malice.
It's a fascinating contrast. This whole tournament seems designed to break people, push them past their limits. But if anyone can stand unwavering against that kind of opponent,
it's the doll. His whole life has been a fight for self-actualization.
Exactly. Which leads to the big question then. If the doll wins, if he gets that one wish, what does he ask for?
Yeah, what would his wish be? Given everything, the isolation, wanting to be enough, the trauma, the quiet triumph, it probably wouldn't be something flashy, right?
I doubt it. It doesn't seem like his style. He's already found his more than enough in the ring, in himself.
So what then?
Well, this is just speculation, obviously, but drawing from that poem, that deep introspection, maybe his wish wouldn't be to undo his past. He's already transformed it.
Right, that's his power source now.
Perhaps. Perhaps he'd wish for some kind of quiet peace for others who feel like outsiders. Or maybe for a world where kids don't suffer that kind of monstrous cruelty.
Or maybe something personal but not selfish, like the ability to truly communicate that deep self-acceptance back to his grandparents, the ones who sacrificed so much.
That feels possible, too. It wouldn't be about what he needs anymore, but maybe what his evolved self desires for others, or for connection.
We've really followed his incredible journey, haven't we? From such vulnerability and pain to this powerful self-actualized force, now ready for this ultimate challenge.
His story is just a moving testament to the human spirit's ability to endure, to transform, to find purpose. And as the Tournament of Terror gets closer, that silent resolve of his just seems to intensify.
The doll found his true self, his power, by embracing his difference, by turning that burlap mask into his armor, his symbol.
Which really makes you think, doesn't it? What masks do we all wear? By choice or by circumstance?
And how might our own perceived weaknesses, maybe even our past traumas, actually be hiding our greatest, most unexpected strengths?
Could embracing our unique challenges lead us to finally whisper like the doll? I am finally me.
Definitely something to think about, especially as the doll prepares for his next battle, and something for you all to consider until our next deep dive.